We are almost a year removed from arguably the biggest trade, not just in the NBA's history, but in sports history. We're back on February 2nd, 2025. Luka Doncic was traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers late night here on the East Coast. A trade nobody saw coming, nobody expected, and we're pretty much a year removed from this colossal deal going down. So I just want to talk about how these two teams have looked since then, what has changed in the NBA, because a lot has happened since this trade went down. And I still remember where I was. I was coming home Saturday night, I was getting ready for bed, and then I get a notification on my phone saying Luka Doncic has been traded. And I thought it was one of those random Twitter notifications from an account you don't follow, and it's like Scam Sharania. It's a parody account, and then I click on the account, and no, it's verified with a couple million followers, and I'm like, what? Did Shams get hacked? Like, I've always thought about if somebody hacked a sports reporter's account, they could tweet out something like this, and then Shams had to say, no, I wasn't hacked. That's how shocked we were. Because yes, if Giannis got traded, that is a big deal, but we all kind of know at one point Giannis could get traded. Nobody, and I mean nobody, thought Luka Doncic was ever getting traded. We thought he was going to be a Dallas Maverick for life. And yeah, on February 2nd, Nico Harrison of the Dallas Mavericks traded away Luka Doncic, Markieff Morris, and Maxi Kleber to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. Oh yeah, the Utah Jazz also got Jalen Hood-Schifino and a second in this deal as well, because of course they did. We all thought the Lakers' future was in limbo, with LeBron James getting up there in age, with Anthony Davis also getting up there in age as well, and had somewhat of an injury history, the Lakers not having a good core whatsoever. I really had no idea what this team was going to look like in a few years when LeBron James inevitably retires, and they just got handed a lifeline by the Dallas Mavericks to get their franchise superstar, who was just 25 years old when the Lakers acquired him. You know, somebody that's been averaging around 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists throughout the course of his 7-year career up to this point. Just 5 straight All-NBA first teams, a Western Conference Finals MVP award back in 2024, and then about 8 months later was shipped off to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Dallas Mavericks and Nico Harrison thought this was going to change their identity. They thought there was a ceiling that they could win with Luka Doncic as their best player, who was starting to have some injuries throughout the course of the 2025 season with the Dallas Mavericks, but nothing more than what Anthony Davis has had in his career. And AD was about 6 to 7 years older than Luka Doncic when this trade went down. The Lakers only had to give up 1 first-round pick in 2029, and I'm sure in hindsight, if the Dallas Mavericks asked for Austin Reeves instead of Max Christie, the Lakers are still doing this deal. And Max Christie has been good for the Mavericks so far, but Max Christie and Austin Reeves are on completely different trajectories right now. And Luka Doncic had a calf strain when this trade went down, so he ended up debuting for the LA Lakers 8 days later in a 132-113 victory against the Utah Jazz. Luka had 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists in 23 minutes, and it was a blowout, so he didn't need to play that much. As Anthony Davis debuted for the Dallas Mavericks 6 days later on February 8th, 2025, I was very intrigued to see how Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Gafford, Lively, and all these wings will look in Dallas, because I thought there was a chance with Kyrie and the way he was playing last year, pre-ACL tear, something we'll get to in a little bit, and Anthony Davis at his peak, because if you remember, he was playing like an All-NBA second or third team guy up to this trade for the Lakers. I thought there was a chance they could make the run in the Western Conference. Nobody was writing in Sharpie that the Oklahoma City Thunder were going to win it all. Yes, we thought they were the favorites, but we thought they were at least somewhat beatable. And Anthony Davis looked so good out of the gate for the Dallas Mavericks. The home crowd had something to root for after just kind of feeling like their fandom just got ripped out of their chest over the last few days. Anthony Davis has 26 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 blocks against the Houston Rockets, but left the game with lower body tightness in the third quarter. The Mavericks did win that game 116-105, so it was unfortunate that we only got to see 3.5 quarters from Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, but in the 7 games that followed for Dallas, Kyrie Irving was playing like one of the best players in the NBA. He was averaging 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists for the Dallas Mavericks over the next 7 games, and then things got so much worse. On March 3rd against the Sacramento Kings, 9 minutes in, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. We were worried about the workload Kyrie was having as an older guard, averaging 38.5 minutes a night over the last 7 games, and then he goes down with an ACL tear, which finished his 2025 season. We have yet to see him here in 2026, and there is a realistic chance that Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving only play 3.5 quarters together. And on the night the trade went down, the Dallas Mavericks were 26-24. They ended up finishing off the regular season 39-43, so they ended up going 13-19 over their final 32 games. games, they would go on to beat the Sacramento Kings in the first leg of the play-in tournament and would go on to lose the Memphis Grizzlies in the second leg of the play-in tournament, ending their season. And that loss was the best thing to happen to them, which we'll get to in a second. The Los Angeles Lakers finished the 2025 season with a 50-32 record. On the night the trade happened, the Lakers were 29-19. They ended up as the 3 seed in the Western Conference. They ended up losing in 5 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves in round number 1. Luka Doncic averaged 28 points, 7.5 assists, and 8 rebounds in his 28 regular season games with the Lakers, but the future felt brighter in LA since they had this 25-year-old franchise superstar under their belt. They thought they could get an extension done with Luka in the offseason, in which they did. And throughout the regular season and into the offseason, leading up to basically this fall, every single Dallas Mavericks fan was saying the same 3 words: fire Nico Harrison. You would hear fans chant fire Nico whenever they got the chance to, because honestly, I don't know how you can make this trade and not really expect the public backlash. And it wasn't just the Luka Doncic trade that happened at the 2025 trade deadline for the Dallas Mavericks. They also traded away Quentin Grimes. I still don't know why. Quentin Grimes for the Dallas Mavericks in 47 games was shooting 46% from the field, 40% from 3, averaging 10 points and 4 rebounds, and playing some of the better basketball of his career since year number 2 with the New York Knicks. They traded him in the Bojan Bogdanovic trade. Then Detroit traded him in the Tim Hardaway Jr. trade. And Dallas had this great role player behind Kyrie and Luka Doncic and was really stepping up when those guys were missing some time at the beginning of the 2025 season. Well, Nico Harrison decided to trade away Quentin Grimes for Caleb Martin, and he also dished in a 2025 second round pick that ended up being Janai Broome. And there were already some issues with Caleb Martin's medicals. He only played 14 games for the Mavericks in 2025, shooting 38% from the field, 25% from 3, averaging 5.5 points, while Quentin Grimes in the second half of the 2025 season for the Philadelphia 76ers averaged just, you know what, a casual 22 points, 4.5 assists, 5 rebounds, shooting 47% from the field and 37% from 3. And Quentin Grimes this year is averaging 14 points, shooting 36% from 3, while Caleb Martin is averaging 2.5 points in 11 minutes a night. But on the night of May 12th, everything changed for the Dallas Mavericks. Remember when I said the Lakers got handed a lifeline for their future, getting gifted Luka Doncic? Well, the Mavericks kind of got gifted the same thing. They had a 1.8% chance on winning the 2025 draft lottery after losing in the play-in tournament. They were the 11th pick, and they moved up to number 1 to select a unanimous number 1 prospect, maybe the best prospect we've seen in a half a decade plus, Cooper Flagg. Nico Harrison obviously looked thrilled about this. He was saying, now you could see the vision here. Well, no, you just got insanely lucky. The Mavericks would go on to draft Cooper Flagg, pick up Musa Cisse and Ryan Nembhard with undrafted free agent contracts. They extended PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford in the offseason. The New York Knicks tried to poach their head coach Jason Kidd, so they extended Jason Kidd, and they also signed D'Angelo Russell with all systems go for the 2026 season. As the Los Angeles Lakers did not own a first round pick, but they picked up Marcus Smart in free agency, Jake LaRavia, and DeAndre Ayton after getting bought out by the Portland Trailblazers, and they also drafted a Adu Thero in the second round. There was a little bit of drama with the Lakers in the offseason after LeBron James opted in to his $50+ million player option. He was seen at a Cleveland Cavaliers training facility. You know, the rumors were circulating, but nothing ended up transpiring from those. And then the Mavericks get off to a 3-8 start here in the 2026 season, and the Mavericks finally fired Nico Harrison, the man that orchestrated the Luka Doncic trade. As the Adelson family said, enough is enough, ending Nico's 4+ year run as their top executive, which is crazy because about a year and a half earlier in 2024, they were in the NBA Finals. He traded for PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford at the 2024 trade deadline, and it really felt like the Mavericks were still going to be one of the better teams in the Western Conference for the next 5+ years with Kyrie Irving, with Luka Doncic. So yeah, the Mavericks ended up firing Nico Harrison. Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi are now the interim general managers, and there's probably a good chance they're going to be made the full-time general managers at the end of the season. Throughout the 2026 NBA season, Anthony Davis has been in and out of the Dallas Mavericks lineup. He was already going into the year with an eye issue, which was going to force him to wear goggles for the rest of his career. He's only played 20 games in the 2026 season. He's dealt with a calf issue, Achilles soreness, and in a freak injury against the Utah Jazz on January 8th, Anthony Davis hurt his hand, and we thought he was going to have to undergo hand surgery, which was going to rule him out for the regular season. Now we know he's not going to undergo surgery, and he's going to get reevaluated in 6 weeks, which is going to be well after the 2026 trade deadline. And after Nico Harrison got fired, especially with all these injuries, Dallas wants to move in a different direction. Anthony Davis has been in trade rumors ever since Nico Harrison got fired, and that was the main piece they got back in a Luka Doncic trade return. And I'm not going to say it's all sunshine and rainbows in Los Angeles. Luka has definitely had his struggles at times, but he's still averaging 33.5 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 8.7 assists this year, with a 61% true shooting percentage on a league high 38% usage every single night, and he's still just 26 years old. Luka signed that 3-year extension with the LA Lakers, so you know he's here this year, next year, and 2028 guaranteed. And yes, the Dallas Mavericks were able to get Cooper Flagg somehow in the 2025 draft. Cooper Flagg has looked the part already as a 19-year-old, averaging 19 points and 6 rebounds, and is now the franchise player that Dallas is looking to build around for years to come. But Dallas doesn't own much draft capital over the next 5 years. They don't have a direct line to their own first-round pick for the next 5 years. They do own the Lakers' 2029 first-round pick, but if you give a team Luka Doncic, I'm not really expecting that pick to be any good. And it feels like the Mavericks are going to somewhat sell off some of their veteran core over the next 6 to 12 months as the LA Lakers are looking to build a championship roster around Luka Doncic for the next 5+ years. So yeah, that is it for me. Hope you guys did enjoy. I just wanted to talk about the biggest trade in NBA history a year later. Let me know if your thoughts and opinions have changed on this trade over time. I still have the same reaction to when I saw this trade go down. I still can't believe Nico Harrison did this. I still can't believe Luka Doncic is a Los Angeles Laker. If you wanted to realize that Luka Doncic had a ceiling on what you could do with him as your franchise player, with maybe some conditioning issues or his defensive effort and his athleticism dipping, sure, that's fine, but you have to have a bidding war. Just think about the players you could have gotten on the open market for Luka Doncic. You probably could have had anybody in the NBA outside 5 to 7 guys. Like, let me just list off all of the guys that could have went 1-for-1 for Luka Doncic that I would rather have over Anthony Davis right now. Cade Cunningham, who knows, could have probably gone for Luka Doncic last season. Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Scotty Barnes, Donovan Mitchell or Evan Mobley, Paolo Banchero or Franz Wagner, Tyrese Maxey, Bam Adebayo, Jalen Johnson, Kawhi Leonard, Denny Avdia, Amen Thompson or Alperen Şengün, Jamal Murray, Stephon Castle or De'Aaron Fox, Chet Holmgren or Jalen Williams. I'm not going to say all those teams would have traded those guys for Luka Doncic, but at the time, a lot of them would have. But no, you got Anthony Davis, who you're probably going to get 20 cents on the dollar for with his injury history. And I'm just very happy for Mavericks fans that you guys now have Cooper Flagg to root for and build around, because if you didn't, man, the future in Dallas would have been very, very dark. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Like I said, let me know what you guys think about this trade 1 year later. I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.